6, so I think we ought to start. Good evening, councillors and members of the public, members of this committee. I'm Richard Davis, Councillor Richard Davis, and I'm the chair of this Housing, Neighbourhoods and Leisure Committee. And I'm welcoming you all to the committee, which is being held this evening online for obvious reasons. So that's because we're obviously social distancing still, and we're doing committees like this. We're all quite used to it now, hopefully, so it should go off without too much of a hit. Bearing in mind everybody is subject to their own wireless or their own home internet connection, including me. So you know, we've got to accept that people will sometimes be difficult to hear or may drop off, in fact, but hopefully they will come back on and we'll have enough numbers to be quorate and carry on. So this is now the second meeting of the HNL, which is a committee which has been held online since the Coronavirus Act of 2020 has allowed local authority committees to be conducted online and attended remotely. But the public and press can still see and hear the meeting because we're all still being open about everything we do. The meeting has been recorded and will be made available on the council's website. So the agenda papers were published on the council's website and on the Modern Gov app. And hopefully members will have had time to read them. Hopefully they will have read them before we come this evening. I'll ask members individually at the end of the debate on the reports to state if they're for or against, or whether they, in our case, usually accept the recommendation in the report. Also, if they wish to abstain. Usually we go to a vote on items of this committee. Obviously, if there are objections, if people don't want to accept the recommendation, then we may do the numbers, but hopefully we don't usually, but we might do. So I'll ask members now to introduce themselves for the benefit of the public and also to ensure they're all here. I'll read the register could I, and also the benefit that they can tell us that they're logged in correctly and they can hear me. Could I please remind members and officers to put their microphones on mute when you're not speaking. You can stay visible if you want to, but probably maybe you wouldn't want to. When you're called, you need to unmute your mic, obviously, and that usually takes a few seconds to kick in. So usually it's best to probably wait a couple of seconds after you're unmuted before you speak. And also, when you do speak, please remember at that point to put your camera on so we can see who's speaking. So now I'm going to call on the members of the committee alphabetically. So just please put your camera on and say something to identify that you're with us. You can give us your bio if you like, or anything else you want to. Otherwise, just say you're here if you don't mind. Start off with Councillor Barnett's Ward.
I'm here, Chair.
Jolly good. That's what kind of firm affirmation I like to hear. Councillor Carnell.
Good evening, Chairman. Councillor Paul Carnell from Thames Ward in attendance.
Lovely. Councillor Ennis.
Yep, here, present.
Councillor Grassoff. I think that counts as not here. That's Councillor Grassoff who's struggling with her mic.
I've not had any response from her to the invitation to say either way.
Okay, well, we'll have to mark her as absent, and if she does arrive, hopefully we'll spot her coming in. Councillor Hacker.
Yep, Chair, I'm here. So Councillor Hacker from Backer Ward, also Chair of the Cultural Education Partnership and Art and Heritage Forum.
Thank you. Councillor Hacker. Councillor Hoskin.
Hi, I'm Graham Hoskin. I'm Lead Councillor for Health, Wellbeing and Sport.
Thank you, Councillor Hoskin. Councillor James.
Here and present, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name's Councillor James from Catesgrove Ward.
Marvellous, Councillor Jones, thank you. Councillor Lang.
Good evening, Chair. Councillor for Whitley Ward.
Welcome, Councillor Magnani.
Chair, you missed me out.
Oh, you're not on this list, actually.
It's on the list I've got in front of me.
Sorry, Councillor Lovelock. I'm saying don't blame me. Please, sorry, Councillor.
What's on the screen has definitely got me on it. Yeah, Joe Lovelock, Councillor for Norfolk Ward and Vice Chair of this committee. Should you get technical difficulties, I will temporarily take over.
Like the council meeting the other night.
Yes, indeed.
We nearly had to go to the deputy. She was getting all excited and putting her chain on, and then the mayor came back. So, Councillor Magnani.
I've not had an acceptance or apologies.
Okay, so perhaps she's not coming, and if she does come, we'll hopefully spot her. Councillor McGonigal. Similar thing. Have you heard from Councillor McGonigal? She's
accepted the meeting, but isn't here yet.
She may come late. Councillor O'Connell, is that a comment on what's gone on so far? Councillor O'Connell.
Has not responded to the invitation.
Right. Councillor Rowland.
Thank you, Chair. We're looking at a Labour room right now, the way things are. Yes, my name is Councillor Karen Rowland. I'm an Abbey Ward councillor. I'm also the lead member for Culture, Heritage and Recreation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Rowland. Councillor R. Singh.
Present and good evening. I'm afraid there's a Tory amongst you, so from Kentwood.
No, you're not on your own, Councillor Singh. There's also Councillor Carnell to back you up.
Perfect.
And Councillor R. Williams.
Good evening, Chair. Councillor Rose Williams from Catesgrove Ward.
Okay, I've just had a message. Oh,
can you?
Oh yes, Councillor Grassoff is here. I did call you, okay. Councillor Grassoff. Are you not able to unmute?
I am. I'm here. It's just that there was a lot of traffic between my children's bedroom and the kitchen. Which held me up, so apologies for being late.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah, usually, real traffic on real roads. Even doing it from home won't stop me. Anyway, thank you. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you here. Thank you, councillors. I would also like to introduce you to the officers who are in attendance tonight. They will not be on the screen as much as the councillors, but I will introduce them now, so that you know who they are and what their role is, and they'll often be speaking on the reports, as you know from this committee before. So, Zelda Wolfley is here. Is she?
Yes, Chair.
Sorry, I should have said that as a question. Is Zelda Wolfley here? Okay, yes, we've established you're here. Bryony Hall, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Joe Middlemass.
Good evening, Chair.
Good evening. Donna Pentelo.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. And we've established that Julie Cornby's here, but she can say hello again if you want to.
Hello again.
Oh, great. Okay, excellent. Thanks very much. So now we're moving on to the meeting proper. And we'll take item 1, which is declarations of interest. So we've not been notified of any.
Chair, I have a declaration of interest to make.
Okay.
On item, I think it's 12, so the final item today. It's non-pecuniary. It doesn't affect me financially. It's just that I do work for PACT, who also run Alana House, which is mentioned in the report.
Thanks, Councillor Hacker. Anyone else? No? Great. We've also noted that interest. Item 2 is minutes of the previous meeting. Has anyone got any issues? Perhaps we take it like that. Or perhaps everyone can say if they agree that the minutes are a correct record of the last meeting, which was on the 15th of December.
Agreed.
Agreed.
No. Okay, great. No dissenters from that. Are there any matters arising that anyone wants to bring up? No. Great. Item 3 is minutes of other bodies. So in the pack that you'll see that the minutes of the Community Safety Partnership were included. If anyone has anything to say about those, please speak now. Pause. So item 4 is petitions, so we don't have any this meeting. Item 5 is questions. We haven't had any questions this meeting either. And item 6 is decision book references, which we haven't got any either. So item 7 is housing update and programme of works to council housing stock. So if Zelda Wolfley, who's the Assistant Director of Housing and Communities, can present the report, that would be great.
Thank you, Chair.
You say thank you, Chair now. Oh yes,
I have. Thank you, Chair. This report is an update to committee on the key achievements of the housing service over the last year. The last year has been extremely challenging for the service, as well as maintaining services throughout the course of the pandemic. The teams have also been thrust into different roles to assist our most vulnerable residents. This is including delivering meals to accommodated rough sleepers, manning phones to carry out welfare checks to our most vulnerable tenants, providing reassurance and support to residents in the wake of the Forbury attack, which was particularly devastating for staff and tenants, as the perpetrator himself was a tenant. Key achievements are highlighted in the report. I don't intend to run through them, but they're there for members to note. Just to further note, Chair, on the local authority new build programme with the start on site, just a slight revision on North Street, where the number of properties states 41. That's been revised down recently to 37. That's as a result of getting higher sustainability outcomes on those properties. But as a result of that, that's good news. But as a result of that, we've had to reduce slightly the number of flats being delivered. Just to finish, tenant satisfaction is mentioned within the report. Overall, tenant satisfaction remains quite high. However, there are issues for us to consider moving forward, especially in relation to the area of ASB. There were 2 linked reports on the agenda, so the allocation, scheme consultation, and the antisocial behaviour policy, which seek to address some of the issues in relation to ASB, and the service will be looking to provide more resource in that area moving forward over the coming year. Finally, the report further sets out the work programme for the stock for the coming year, and it seeks delegated authority to tender and enter into contracts for the provision of that work. Thank you, Chair. To take any questions.
Thank you, Zelda. And can I just point out that the North Street is not the North Street, which is a little tiny street in Caversham, because surprisingly we get a number of people often bringing that up and going, where on earth are you going to put all these houses in this street? It's actually in central Reading, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, thanks very much. I call on Councillor Ennis, if you want to speak about this one.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you to Zelda and all the officers. I think we need to place on record the efforts, our gratitude of the efforts and work that the council officers do and committed to assisting tenants throughout the year and always, and going over and above. I know many officers have gone over and above their duties to ensure that tenants are safe, that houses are in good order and getting better, and when there's issues and problems, in attempting to solve them. This is a very, very comprehensive report, and I'd like to thank Zelda and the officers for that. It gives a really good positive picture in many ways of the amount of investment into the housing revenue account. You know, I'm going to pick one, you know, pensioner decorations, 180,000. The whole list is there of a massive investment of building new homes, but also spending the tenants' rent money on the houses themselves. And I don't apologise when I say that council housing in Reading is the best landlord. Reading is the best landlord in town, have been for a while, and will continue to do so. And to note, and I want councillors to note of the work that's going on, particularly the work that's going on with regards to the environment and green energy in making Reading's council stock more energy efficient and green, which is really important. And I think the Green Party themselves have acknowledged the work that's gone on and the progress. I don't think we should judge it by their standards, but I'm just making because they have criticised in the past. And I think this report shows the work that's being done to make our homes more energy efficient, and we're on the way. We're well on the way. I feel really proud that Reading kept its stock. I can remember going back in the day when there was issues about areas selling their stock. Many areas have. We didn't. We kept ours because we firmly believe in council housing. And now we've got the opportunity to build more council houses. We're proud that we're an area that builds council housing. We don't see council housing itself as a negative. We think it's a huge and positive of 100% affordable housing, and we want to work with our tenants and have true democracy. And then that comes to the next stage of the report, which is the tenant survey. We survey the tenants, we listen to the tenants, and we hear their concerns, and they come back, and then we must act. We have acted in the past, and I think some of the issues that have been raised there is must try harder, and we have to acknowledge that. As a council, we asked them. They've come back to us on many occasions about antisocial behaviour, but also other stuff, service charges, and there's a whole list there that will concentrate the minds of the housing team and participate with the Tenants Association and representatives to ensure that next time there is a positive. There are some positivity and increase in satisfaction with staff being pleasant and polite. There are some positives in there, but we also acknowledge that there are some issues that we need to deal with, such as ASP, which is on the agenda. And I think we need to send a message to our tenants outside, some of whom may be listening tonight or would be involved, is that we hear you. I want to thank you for the use of money to build new houses, but we also hear you when you raise these issues, and we're pleased that you are raising them and that we're going to act. So thanks for the report. Please note the recommended actions in 2.1 and 2.2, and look forward to coming back at future H&Ls showing that we've listened to tenants and have acted on their behalf. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Ennis. I always feel like when I've talked about this in the past, is like, you know, it's tenants' money. Let's remember that as the point that you made. It's tenants' money spending on maintaining, and they would want their money spent on maintaining good, standard, decent properties, and that's what the council does. So, thanks, Councillor Ennis. So, I should have said, if you want to speak, please can you put in just request it in the chat. I'm not going to respond to everyone going okay, because just assume it's all right, because I've got a list. I can see which order people have done it. It's great, these style meetings, you don't have to write it down. So anyway, Councillor Lovelock would like to speak now.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I agree with Councillor Ennis that this is a really thorough report, and thank you very much for it, and also echo the thanks for the efforts that have been made, well, you know, every year, but particularly the last year, while everything's been so difficult for everybody. Can I just ask a specific question about the works to come next year, which is page 39 and 40. It gives lists of some of the work that's going to be carried out. It doesn't yet give any specifics in terms of which ward and so on. So I appreciate you're probably still working through that to get the list into some shape. But when might we expect to get notification of what works are happening in our wards? Thank you very much, Chair.
Does anyone else want to ask a question? Something's just popped up on the screen, hiding the thing. No, I haven't got any other indications. So Zelda, do you want to just answer Councillor Lovelock's point there?
Yeah, the wards are on the, so where we're able to identify the programmes of work, it is on that appendix, those wards. So where we, so we haven't got addresses, but we have got the wards on there. And then the rest of the work where it says various, that's demand-led work. So it's work that comes into us that we then would go out, and so we can't predict where that necessarily is going to be. I just wanted to check that Councillor Lovelock had.
Sorry, well, no, I had seen that. Can I just come back? Page 39,
yep.
There's a major capital works and plan programme. It just says, it just gives a list of what's likely to be done. It doesn't say where that is going to be done. And on the back, the next page, it's got a list of wards, but I don't.
Yeah, I think it's because it's the way it's presented, Councillor Lovelock. It should have been on a landscape as opposed to, so when the papers have been printed, that's why it's come out.
I should line up page 40 with page 39 then.
It's a
I can send that out to you directly in landscape if that helps, but it
thank you.
Was in landscape on the original report.
It's a bit of craft homework for councillors to print those off and sellotape them together. Correspondence, isn't it? I know. You like to keep us busy. Does anyone else have any other points to make about that report? If not, can I just ask then if we can accept the recommended action, which is on point. Oh, well, the recommended action is to accept the reports. I'm just now having to scroll back. This is the thing when you haven't got papers. You have to scroll back on the screen. So the recommended action is section 2. So we note the key achievements of the council's housing service in the past financial year, and that the Housing, Neighbourhoods and Leisure Committee delegate the authority to the Assistant Director of Houses in consultation with the lead councillor, etc., etc. I won't read it all out. You can read it on section 2. If everybody's happy, we'll just we'll go ahead with that. Can anyone who isn't happy please say nay now? Okay, thanks very much. I think that's accepted. Thanks a lot, Zelda. So moving on to the next item, which is item 8, the allocation scheme consultation. And Zelda Wolfley, the Assistant Director of Housing and Communities, we just heard her. She will speak on this item first, if you would like, Zelda.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to defer to Brian E. Hall, who's the Housing Needs Manager, who will present the report. Thank you, Chair.
Hi, Chair. Thank you. Can you hear me to start with?
Yes, we can hear and see you now.
Lovely, thank you. So yes, this report lays out the intention to review Reading Borough Council's allocation scheme. It details the proposed changes and requests authorisation on the consultation proposals. For a bit of background, the report lays out the rules by which we are required to follow in developing allocation schemes, and the flexibility that we can have in shaping schemes to respond to local priorities. Just for a little bit of context on the journey that we've gone through to developing these proposals, in late 2018 we carried out a member consultation looking at the review of the allocation scheme, which brought some key kind of ideas and concerns to the table. Primarily, they were the reduction of antisocial behaviour in our estates and creating sustainable and balanced communities, with a kind of overarching theme that we needed to make the scheme a bit more transparent. So as a result of that, we developed the 2 main themes that you will find in the report. So looking at developing more sustainable communities and reviewing the scheme to ensure it is clear and fair. On the theme of sustainable communities, you will see that there are a number of mechanisms that we've proposed to support that. For an example of those mechanisms, I won't go into detail on each one, but we've looked at key workers and making it more accessible for key workers to access affordable housing. Proposals for that include the provision of an exemption to the current 3-year residency criteria that we have for all applicants to the housing register, so that key workers are able to be more mobile, and we're able to address skills deficits maybe within the town for people moving around. In addition, creating a quota queue for key workers. In the same section, we also look at increasing tenant sanctions for those who've been evicted previously for antisocial behaviour in order to decrease antisocial behaviour on our estates. Then going on to the second theme, which is clear and fair allocations. So within this, we are looking to reduce the number of bans within our current scheme. And just for clarity on that, we aren't looking to remove any bans or remove anyone who would be eligible to apply for the housing register. It's just about consolidating the banding so that it's a bit clearer for people to understand when they apply to the housing register. Within that, we're also looking to create a separate housing register for those people who required adapted homes. In order to make it clear about what is available to people and vice versa, to those people who require adapted homes and vice versa. And I think that will go some way to helping making it more visible and clear as to what those applicants are able to bid for. We've also covered off some other changes that we aren't looking to consult on. So reviewing our local lettings policies for certain areas, and hopefully implementing pre-tenancy workshops and pre-tenancy counselling for tenants, prospective tenants. The overall time periods that we're hoping to be able to deliver the new allocation scheme, assuming that the consultation is assuming the outcome of the consultations. So we're looking at opening an 8-week consultation exercise on the 15th of March, and then bringing back a revised allocation scheme in the summer, so to a committee in either July or August. I think that summarises it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just worth noting. This is a agreement to consult. We're not making decisions this evening on to accept anything. We're just agreeing that these are the consultation. This is what we'll go out to consult on, isn't it? Yeah,
that's correct. Yes.
Councillor Ennis, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I do. I want to back up what Bryony said to verify that, and to look at the recommended action that we approve the public consultation that takes place, take the views of residents, customers and partners, and to inform the review. I think it's really important that we go out and we listen to what people have got to say about the allocations. We haven't done this for a while. I think it's due a consultation. We had a really good meeting a few years ago now, time flies when you're having fun, in 2018. About that, and we had a wish list, and I think a lot of that has been included in the consultation. Certainly the sustainable communities, where we very much believe that housing is for council housing, is for affordable housing, is for families who often are on low incomes, who would struggle to pay for rents in Reading, which are very high. And that's good, and we're doing that, and we need more. That's the trouble, not enough. And also for vulnerable people as well, but this will be part of a sustainable community within the actual estates themselves. and the level of investment that goes into them estates is quite high. So I think the allocations is good. I'm particularly keen to hear what tenants and stakeholders say about the antisocial behaviour element, because too many times 99% of council tenants are law-abiding, community-minded people whose lives are blighted by small minority of numbers. And if people are committing antisocial behaviour, then they should not be allowed to do that in council houses. Shouldn't have to be doing it in any houses, but particularly we're focusing on that, and I really do think that's a good idea. I also like the simplification of the bans, and this is to be clear that we are not taking anybody off the housing register. Where people are desperate to have council houses, hence they go onto the register. We are not excluding anybody, it's simplifying. But this is a consultation, so welcome the views. So yes, welcome the views from opposition councillors as well, to see what they think, and look forward to the answers coming back. But thanks for putting this forward, and thank you, Chair. Thank you, Bryony, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Ennis. Obviously, allocations is incredibly important, and it's really important for people to see the fairness and transparency. And a part of that is that it's plain, and it's understandable, because I know some local authorities where they have point systems, and even ours where we had lots of bans that were sometimes a bit opaque to people. I think the effort to simplify them definitely is welcome, and for the users of the allocations policy who are applicants to our housing register, then it's really important that they can understand where they sit, isn't it, in their how likely they are to get a council house at the end of the day. Councillor Grassoff would like to speak.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm really pleased to see this. We again had a briefing whenever it was 2-3 years ago, and I think we all said that the number of bans was really quite confusing, and so it's really nice to see that we're going to be getting that made more clear. I'm pleased to see the